The release of Chapter 4 happened just a few days ago, but there's already a ton of drama around the game. Today, we're going to quickly go over all the negativity surrounding Chapter 4, talk about the most likely release date for Chapter 5, and of course, briefly go through the main events of Chapter 5, including some really unexpected ones. Chapter 1 dropped on October 12th, 2021. Chapter 2 followed on May 6, 2022, and then Chapter 3 took a whole year and a half, releasing on January 30th, 2024. So on average, there was about a year and a half between releases, but the real issue came with Chapter 4. It launched exactly 1 year after Chapter 3, which was unexpected for many, and for some, an unpleasant surprise. Before Chapter 4, predicting release dates was pretty easy. Now, it seems unclear, but at the same time, kinda makes sense. I'm almost certain Chapter 5 won't drop before 2026. At first, I thought it could come out in January, but honestly, that's not happening. My best guess? May 2026, and I've got a few solid reasons for that. We'll get into the problems with Chapter 4's rushed release in a bit. But first, let's acknowledge something. A 99% chance that Chapter 5 is the grand finale. The devs are hinting at it in every way possible, like the story's wrapping up, and the final showdown with the prototype is literally right in front of us. Each new chapter is way bigger than the last, and that's all thanks to Poppy Playtime's growing revenue. And yeah, despite all the issues with Chapter 4, it still ended up being the most successful one so far. Since it was much more ambitious, both the playtime and development costs went way up, making each chapter take longer to create. But Mob balanced things out by expanding their team. Now imagine this, Chapter 5 is going to be the biggest one yet. I honestly think the full playthrough could take 5 to 6 hours. And if they try to push it out by January, we'd be looking at a buggy, borderline unplayable mess. But if Mob plays it smart and uses the revenue from Chapter 4 wisely, they can take a solid year and a half to craft a near-perfect game, one we can truly enjoy. 1 year just isn't enough, and Chapter 4 proved that. So yeah, expect Chapter 5 around May 2026 at the earliest. That way, you'll get to experience the finale the way it was meant to be. No need to rush this one. So we've locked in the most likely release date, but let's be real, many people still hoped for a January launch. Same thing happened last year. And well, it led to the biggest drama Mob Entertainment has ever faced. For the longest time, fans were confused about why we weren't getting a gameplay trailer, which used to be a tradition. Then the day finally came, and boom, we got the trailer, but the reaction? Split. Some loved it, others immediately sensed that Chapter 4 was going to be a mess. I'll be honest, I had a more positive outlook at first, but after the game dropped, a lot of people were straight up disappointed, and the Steam reviews speak for themselves. I'm not going to bombard you with a million glitch compilations. Those are getting patched fast. But let's take a step back and look at how the audience actually reacted to Chapter 4. Loved the other chapters, but not liking this one. It was fine until you get to the part where you have to hide from Yarnaby, cause it is just too hard. Hiding from him or running from him doesn't work. Been stuck on this part for over an hour and have just given up. Wouldn't recommend this game unless they get it fixed. Amazing game, great story and lore with Chapter 4, but it is so beyond buggy. I would say it is close to unplayable how many hours you're going to spend resetting constantly. I would not recommend getting this game until they do a huge hotfix. The end of the game took me about an hour and a half, due to me being constantly shot over the map and getting stuck in the air. When they do a hotfix, I will play again and write a new review. But for now, it is way too buggy to recommend to anyone. But still, most of the reviews are positive, like this one. This one has wonderful story elements. Sure, it's a downgrade to the third chapter, but lore and notes made this one stellar above all. Major grip that halted progress was with Yarnaby in his chase wire segment. AI spotted me every time, soft lock one spot where I had to reload an earlier save. But overall, the story and puzzles were tame enough. The lore about these toys and the obvious story ending still made for a pleasurable experience, and I want more now. I need to see this through. As you might have guessed, most people truly appreciated the lore of Chapter 4. In my opinion, this is the best chapter so far in terms of story and the emotions it delivers, not just the gameplay. That insane scene with Dowie alone is proof of that.
I was never what any of you needed. I was only made to hurt things. My fault. My fault. Hurt. Everything hurts. Hurt back. Always hurt back. Parents, scientists, everyone have to. My friends. He killed my friends. You. It all started with you. You and her.
Damn, this is my favorite scene in the entire history of Poppy Playtime. What about you guys? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And don't even get me started on Huggy's epic return. And of course, a lot of people love this, but there were also some characters whose appearance wasn't just weird. I'd say it would have been better if they didn't exist at all. Yeah, I'm obviously talking about Pianosaurus and the Nightmare Critters. The funniest part? These characters weren't even a part of Playtime Co.'s original story, so adding them now feels like complete nonsense. At least with the critters, we kinda knew what to expect. They were supposed to be more of a mini-feature, so no one was too upset about them. But Pianosaurus? His miserable 20 seconds of screen time left everyone in shock. Why add a character that serves no purpose except to introduce Doughy the Doman? Wouldn't it have been way better to just have a scene where we fall and Doughy heroically saves us? Honestly, I feel bad for Doughy. He could have been an amazing character with his own deep story. But just like I predicted in a video before the game even dropped, Pianosaurus was never gonna get the attention he needed. And guess what? I was 100% right. Actually, things turned out even worse than I expected. And then there's the weird situation with Dr. Sawyer. They hyped him up as the #1 villain, almost like a serious competitor to Prototype, and in the end, just another semi-useless character whose only real moment was his death. Despite all that, the main story of the new chapter was honestly mind-blowing. We got a ton of new info, not just about the characters, but about Playtime Co. And of course, we can't skip over one of the most important dialogues in Poppy Playtime history, because it's the key to unraveling the plot of Chapter 5.
This entire time, you've lied to me!
Only because you've kept missing the point.
I've taken the liberty of retrieving those explosives from the Foundation.
Thanks for collecting them.
Those, by the way, I've put them to good use. I admit, though, I'm disappointed.
After all that time in your case, I'd hoped you'd see things
Differently. Don't you understand?
It's always been about you.
And we'll hobby.
What we are. That's not a truth that can be
Burnt away. No, not when it can mean so much more.
Prototype. Please.
It's time to come home.
Poppy.
It's time to come home.
I can't go back in the case. I can't. I'm sorry.
Now we completely understand that Chapter 5 will be about Poppy, the prototype, Huggy, and considering everything we've seen up to this point, I'm almost 100% sure that the next chapter will fully wrap up the story, and we'll finally get all the answers to the secrets Playtime Co. has been hiding. I'm pretty sure we'll have to save Poppy from the prototype's clutches, and there's even a chance that Huggy might be on our side. I originally thought about dedicating a whole section to this, but then I remembered there's already a super detailed video on the channel analyzing everything. But I'd really love to hear your theories about Chapter 5 in the comments. See you soon.